With the death of bin Laden, I think it really is a time to ask the United States government more forcefully to step away from some of the tactics it had been using. President Obama had come into office declaring that he would close down Guantanamo, that he would close down these very problematic military commissions that are being used to treat suspects, and that he would basically try to roll up what was called the War on Terror by the U.S. We now have to see whether, with the death of bin Laden, President Obama will follow through on those promises. The U.S. declared war on terror played out in Pakistan quite a great deal, and in fact we saw hundreds, if not thousands, of people who were disappeared, taken by the Pakistani government without acknowledging it. Many of them were turned over to the U.S. and the UK authorities. And we saw a great number of human rights violations justified under the notion of cooperating in the war on terror. With Osama bin Laden's death, I think there is once again an increase in pressure for the Pakistani government to clean up its act and to ensure that disappearances end, that anybody who is in detention is properly charged or released. I should clarify that Amnesty International condemns acts of terrorism and attacks on civilians as absolutely standing against the basic principles of human rights, and we've been calling for quite a long time for any perpetrators of terrorism to be brought to justice. And in this specific instance, we understand that there were people who were detained along with Osama, and we would very much like to know what happens to those people. If they are potentially suspects, we'd like to see them brought to trial and brought to justice. Osama bin Laden and al-Qaeda had really ceased to have direct impact on much of the insurgency in Afghanistan. The Taliban, who had previously sheltered Osama, are operating quite independently, and although they have some ideological sympathies, there's really quite a great deal of separation between the insurgent groups in Afghanistan and Osama bin Laden and al-Qaeda. Most of the human rights violations and attacks on civilians right now in Afghanistan are coming from the Taliban, more than two-thirds of them. Amnesty International has called for the International Criminal Court to start looking at the conduct of hostilities in Afghanistan, especially about what the Taliban are doing. And so I don't think there will be an immediate impact, except that we greatly fear that the Taliban will follow through on their promise to carry out acts of reprisal.